Here we are with another Friday morning live. Hope everybody's doing amazing in these wonderful, very challenging times that we have around the world. We are in probably the biggest challenges that face humanity as a whole, because from what we know, this is probably one of the biggest populations we've had. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know 100%. We can't verify it, but a massive amount of people have been affected. All the warmongers continue. Let's hope there's actual divine peace going to start happening with what's going on, and keep sending Plath to all those in dire needs, because they're in very horrific states, and the evil ones, we need to continuously penetrate their hearts with divine Plath. You know, on the path of healing, there's really the main obstacle for most people, as I posted, is family members. Believe it or not, from all the experiences I've had with thousands and thousands of people, the ones who had no direct family ties, for example, they were foster children and they had absolutely no family, or they moved to a different country and they didn't have to deal with any family. Those people thrived in master fasting and taking charge of their health, and healed from the most tremendous, horrific, butchery things that I have seen. Right? Cheers. So, why is that? Well, each of us as individuals, separate from the divine, we separate ourselves. We all have created our own belief systems, right? We all have our own belief systems. There's no two people that have the exact same belief system in every aspect of life. There's no two people on this planet. And they say there's over 8 billion of us. So there's 8 billion plus different belief systems. Now, that's quite a vast array of opinions. Right? Just think about that. 8 billion different opinions. And let's say we get 8 billion of those people to have opinions on something written. You're going to have a vast array of opinions on what the author was trying to convey. It's just the way the languages are made. It's not like a mathematical equation where 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, and you can't change that. That's the way it is, and everybody interprets it the same, unless they have their own opinion. Mathematical equations are pretty straightforward. Addition, multiplication, subtraction, division. We don't like the division. We like subtraction. So, there's so many things that we could analyze and overanalyze and continue to think about. For example, master fasting. And we can do that for years. And we can talk about it to people and they'll think you're crazy. Yeah, okay. We all have these, most of us have family ties, and they all affect us to some degree. No matter what, we're all going to get affected. We're all human. And then we have social aspects of the people, friends, co-workers, people we associate with in whatever degree. So, fasting is first and foremost a spiritual event. It's a spiritual experience. It's for the divine. The fasting is for our divine creator. And in return, we get reaps and loads of benefits for fasting. The healing, that's a no-brainer. The body will heal. As we purge, the body heals. Empty GI tract, and we continue to purge, right? The body heals. All obstructions, obstacles will come to the surface, and we will see the body start healing tremendously, right? So there's not really anything other than keeping the faith and the belief of what we're doing, because it's all autopilot. And people continue to bring up irrelevant things that may never happen. Worry about them. Jump in, live it, love it. Healing reactions come, deal with it. Deal with it. As we say, the hospital's last place I'd want to be. That's not a place I would like to be in, for any reason, or any length of time. Even visiting people, I don't like going to hospitals. So, just make it happen. Build the belief system. Build it. It's not something that you read about and you're going to have. It's got to be built through discipline, through many experiences of fasting and breaking the fast. We build our belief system because we've experienced what happens, the magnificent transformations that are happening within the physical, mental, and emotional bodies. We feel it, we see it, we experience it. Others notice it, the energy levels, the joy, it's just the less sleep, the better sleep. It just goes on and on and on, the benefits. Yeah, we're going to have healing reactions. Yeah, okay. Deal with it. Deal with it. Deal with the healing reactions. We have a list of all the tools because whatever comes up, 99.9% of the time, it's a healing reaction unless there was medical intervention with drugs and surgery. You know, then you're dealing with healing crisis because of the synthetics and so on and so forth, and or a surgery that went butchery. These are not uncommon. Read the statistics in the medical journals of the leading causes of death. Doctors are the third leading cause of death. And since the lockdowns, they moved up to number one, in my opinion. Just all the people that are dropping dead has to do with what happened in the lockdowns, because that's still happening. So that's my opinion, and people can believe whatever they want. Because they will believe whatever they want. It's just the way of human nature, right? No matter how much truth is put out to us in whatever form, internet, through people, through divine inspiration, whatever, we are going to still have our own belief system, no matter how much truth. The bigger the lie and the more it's repeated, the more people believe it. This is a known fact. And this is how the powers that want to be operate. So, master fasting is so simple. The roadmap is so simple. We love eating, but we love fasting way more. Find your balance between the two. Find your balance. You want to event it? Yeah, go ahead. Event it. How much benefit you're going to get from an event? It'll be short run, short lived. Break if you, let's say you evented 30, 40 days and then on level 7, let's say, and then you broke your fast for another at least 2 to 3 times that length. So you're looking at 6 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, right? And then another 6 weeks to play it safe. So 4 times 6 weeks, 24 weeks. 24 weeks. You're up to the half-year mark. That's the way you would properly break, let's say, a 40-day level 7 through, eating mostly fruit, basically, for the most part. And then slowly introduce, if you like, some salads and stuff like that. I would stick with the fruit salads for the most part. That's the way I like to eat, mostly on the fruit side. I enjoy some greens from the garden and stuff, but small amount, very, very small amount. Fruit, and more fruit is the happy stance, and the body feels the best. Everything away from fruit, there's a difference in how the body feels. There's a difference. No matter what you consume, you're going to feel from that, unless you're in that numbed out, high stimulant state where you don't feel, you just are looking for those stimulations to keep you going. And that's where the majority of population around the world is at. If you look at the most popular social media sites, it's all food. Food, and more food. Most popular. People are making gazillions of dollars on food. It's probably the biggest industry next to drugs, right? They go hand in hand. You know, eat yourself so you can use the drugs. Eat yourself to be able to use the drugs. Because if we're not eating, we don't need that stuff. But it's the laughing matter is we can look in the mirror and laugh. Um, every morning we get up, put our feet on the floor, on the ground. We put a smile on our face, and make it happen. You know, make our decisions to make it happen that day. Every day is that decision has to be. There's not a day that goes by that we can miss making that decision. Because if we don't make that decision of what we're going to do that day, other influences are going to take us over. And slowly but surely we're going to be influenced and move away from our goals. So, grab your TNT. Jump in on one of the levels. Level 7 is so fine and so sweet for those of us who have been master fasting for those, at least 1.5, 2 years. I would say before you jump into level 7, people will do level 7 just jumping in as others have done in the past, because everybody wants instant results. Yeah, you gain the immediate physical results. Immediate meaning, a few months. But the challenge is that what happens after. It's not going to be fun for people, right? Not going to be fun. Living a plant-based lifestyle, fruit as the staple. That's what we're talking about. People can do whatever they like. Tons of people doing carnivore and keto and everything else, and they can continue to do whatever they want. When we see what comes out of the bowels of people on different diets, that tells me a lot. So, cheers. That tells me a lot. When you see everything is like super glued, and nothing's coming out, it's all stuck in there. It's not a pleasant feeling. Not a pleasant feeling. And the way the function of the organs and glands and bowels, the digestive system, it's a whole different scenario than consuming mostly fresh ripe fruit. Right? These are so easy on the body. So easy on the body compared to anything else. Well, if we're not eating, if we're going to compare it to other sources of energy, it's still obstructive. If we look at the scale, the MFS food spiral, the center of nothingness is where you have pure, divine plasma love always flowing. If we connect to that, there's nothing else we need. We don't need to eat, we don't need to drink, we don't need to breathe. We're just in that wonderful space of soul. Right? And as we move outwards, we start obstructing, air being the least physical obstructive thing, I believe. Right? And then you have the liquids. And then you keep going on from there, right? Fruit and leafy greens. And then we get heavier and heavier, right? The heavier vegetable kingdom and the root vegetables, and then you got legumes, and then you got grains and legumes, and probably put them in same category, just act a little bit differently. One's high in protein, one's high in the starch, and then you have your animal proteins and then animal fats. Of course, you have the oils in there. People thinking animal fats and oils are better than seed oils. I'm going to put them in pretty much the same category. I'll put the plants just slightly above, meaning less harmful, I would say, but they're all harmful. They're all harmful. It's just a little less, like just one little notch less. So basically put them on the same level, and that's it. Oils and fats. So even, the avocado fruit, just the energy of how it's grown and who's controlling it. It's all cartels in South America, Mexico, or whatever. You wouldn't want to be associated with any of that stuff. It's like growing up, I don't remember seeing any avocados. I don't know when they started coming in. I just don't remember them. When did I learn about them? They could have been around, but never really noticed them growing up. Wasn't until when did I start noticing avocados? Vegetarian days. I think that's when I started noticing avocados. Way back, 3 decades ago plus. Yeah, durian, we got to be careful. Olives, 20% fat. Body can handle a little bit of those in a small amount. They're very addictive. Anything with fat and protein is highly addictive, especially when they're mixed together, right? Like nuts, they contain the high fat and the protein, some nuts, and that's why people go nuts when they eat nuts. They just can't stop eating them. But yeah, and then you have the karmic cause and effect from eating whatever we're choosing to eat. Karmic cause and effect, right? The laws of cause and effect we cannot escape. So whatever we consume, if we're taking a life, there's karma due from taking that life. However we want to interpret it, whatever belief system we have, and people will say, okay, well, God allowed it in the biblical and other religious books. They allowed it. Just because something is allowed doesn't mean there's no consequences from it. Because the laws of the human design from biblically are laid out in Genesis 1-9. What we're supposed to eat. If you want to go that route. So later on, he allowed it because of certain circumstance and because of man's greedily desires and addiction. So, yeah, you can say he allowed it with with consequences. And look where the world's going. You know, look how much war is happening around the world. Africa, Middle East, um, Ukraine, and wherever else is whatever's happening. I'm not paying attention to all the world events. There's so many, and so many things are being restricted. So, you know, the only thing we can do is continue to send plaf. Divine plasma love always flowing to all the evil ones and all those in dire needs, of course. And with that said, if there's nobody with any questions, we'll call it a morning. And if it's afternoon or evening for you, have a great rest of your day. And live it, love it. Focus on those dry fasts. Enter them properly. Clean that GI tract. Do the fast properly. Exit the dry fast properly. Break it properly. And just continue to live it, love it, week by week. And we will continue to reap the rewards. Ciao for now. We'll see you back on the page. See you next call Wednesday, Facebook Live, 3:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Toronto Time. Ciao for now.